Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Greet your neighbors. Our invocation today will be offered by Laura Neal.
Let us bow our heads. Dear Creator, thank you for every seat that has been filled here today and the beautiful spring weekend we have just experienced. Thank you for the hands that have prepared our bountiful meal. Thank you for each mind and heart that fills the presence of this room. As we set forth on our agenda and program, we have an idea, a vision, hints, and thoughts. We have talents, abilities, and time to work. Bless this meeting today, all those present here, as well as the lives of those we will encounter afterward. Ready us to make every moment count. May we move forward this week with the Rotary four-way test in our minds. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? Amen.
Thank you, Laura. Well, welcome back, everybody. What a great weekend it was weather-wise. I know I got a chance to get out, do a little yard work, get my grill ready for the season. But I do remember last Monday when I was standing at the podium and looking out the back window, the snow was falling. So, you know, in Ohio, and I understand there's a potential for maybe some snowstorms on Wednesday. So we just never know. So. I did include in the weekly email this week that our mailing address has changed. So the old P.O. Box 58 will be decommissioned here in the coming months, I think. So if you can, try to make sure that your payment systems, if you have your dues paid by your organization, are updated with the new address so that we get those routed to the right place. Also, if you are not receiving my emails every week, once in a while, folks will reach out to me and say, you know, I used to get your emails and I haven't gotten them in a while. Sometimes Club Runner, for whatever reason, blocks an email address. So I can go in and unblock that for you. Or maybe your email address just needs to be updated. So you can log into your Club Runner account and look at your primary email address, or just get a hold of me and I can do that for you. Also, I'm sure most of you heard, very sad note that Chuck Doherty passed away this weekend. Chuck joined Rotary on January 4th, 1976. And he was a key figure in our Rotary auction for 38 years. I talked to Dave yesterday on the phone, and I think we pretty much came down to 38 years that we thought Chuck was involved with the Rotary. So very, very much a key figure in our club and a big loss for us. So if I could have a moment of silence for Chuck, please. Thank you. And my last slide today is just your piece of history, your factoid for today. So on this date in 1954, the first practical solar cell was publicly demonstrated by Bell Telephone Technologies. Read a little bit about this, and evidently the technology for solar cells went back almost 100 years, but this was the first one that could really convert that sunlight into electricity efficiently. So that was on this date in 1954. All right, now I'll turn it over to Lynn in the Secretary's report.
Thank you, President Terry, and we'll start with our introductions from the podium. Tracy Carmen.
My guest today is Cindy Wood.
She's the Director of Development and Community Relations at the Ohio State University at Mansfield, and she is currently the President of Mansfield Rotary.
Congratulations. So I was in the Wyman Club for 7 years when they celebrated their 100th anniversary. Mansfield Club did that in the last 2 years. And about a year ago, I went over to visit, I grew up in the Wyman Allen area, and I went over to visit with my husband, our in-laws. And on the front page of the Sunday Wyman News was this awesome story about the Wooster Rotary celebrating their 100th anniversary. And I want to say congratulations on your national.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Cindy, and welcome. Greg Long also has a guest.
My guest today is Tom Hoffman, Senior Director of Development at College of Business and Entrepreneurship at Kent State University.
President Terry.
Thank you, Lynn. Welcome, Cindy and Tom. We hope you enjoyed today's program of the Fellowship of Wooster Rotary. The first thing we have on the schedule today is we have a classification talk from one of our new members, Matt Martin. So I'll ask Matt to come up to the podium now.
Good afternoon, fellow Rotarians. As I look around the room, I know many faces here. We've worked on many projects together, including the most amazing flag that we've ever seen, am I right? So, yeah. To those that I don't know, I do look forward to getting to know you, having conversations with you, and collaborating on many good things in our community. To tell you a little bit about myself, I grew up around Wayne County, grew up out in the New Pittsburgh area, graduated from Northwestern, and in the Wayne County Schools Career Center. And then through my high school years, I worked at Kmart. The reason I'm going to bring this up is I learned one of my many life lessons there. So I'd go into work every day, and I would notice things were different. You know, the shelves were different, layouts were different, and I always thought, how'd that happen? That's different. Well, after a while, it dawned on me, there's someone making a difference. You know, it just doesn't happen. So I had to, you know, ponder on myself, and I thought, do I want to be one of those people that makes a difference, or I just want to show up every day and notice the differences? And as I look around the room, that's who this room is full of. It's the people making the differences in our community. That's why I chose the Rotary. When I looked at the different organizations, they're all good out there, but I saw that there's people in this room that do what I enjoy doing myself. I'm making a difference in our community, stepping up. So that's why I tell you that, you know, I worked at Kmart, you know, my high school years. After graduation, I joined the United States Marine Corps, and I served 4 years, traveling everywhere around our country as well as over in Asia. So I had a wonderful time there, a lot of experience. The leadership skills that I learned there is the core of who I am today. Those traits are ingrained in me as I make decisions every day that affect hundreds of thousands of people. It's based upon those leadership skills that I have been ingrained with from during that time. Upon my enlistment in the Marine Corps, I came back, I returned to Wooster area, and I met my wife, Amy. We were married in 2004. We have 2 children. We have Cole, who's age 9, and then Adra, who's age 8. And we live up in that Burbank area, so we're proud Bobcats now. So I returned to school. I received a degree from Akron in criminal justice, and then I returned back to Liberty University for business management. So after graduation, I worked in a couple of residential facilities for kids. I had a desire to impact kids, you know, make a difference in their lives. And as I did that, I could physically and directly affect 30 to 40 kids at a time as I worked with them and tried to make a difference with their lives. These are kids that might have came from inner city, Philadelphia, Baltimore, Cincinnati, very, very tough kids. And I was making a difference in their lives. After a while, I had the desire, I wanted to affect more. So I was given the opportunity to be in a leadership position over in Ashland and Mansfield, where I could give support to the people working directly with them. But at that time, I was able to work with thousands of kids. And I just continue to have desires to serve. And in 2016, there was a position posted for the Wayne County Fair, the secretary, treasurer, manager. And so I've always had the fair near and dear to my heart. I've volunteered at the fair for many, many years during that 6-day period. And this position was open. I had a lot of interest in it. So I, applied for the position, went through several interviews. And obviously I received that position. And it's amazing the people that I come in contact with today, just through that platform, the relationships that I've built, it just continues to amaze me. And I was given words of wisdom. When I first started, my dad, I was going, just like anybody, starting a new job, there's struggles. And he just reminded me, he goes, just remember, you're steering an awfully big ship. It takes a while to turn that ship sometimes. And so that's always stuck with me, you can't just make things happen overnight, but you slowly guide the course of that ship. So that's where I am. So when I was hired, there's only been 9 people in my position in the history of the fair since 1849. So that's pretty esteemed, and it's nothing I've done, but we're getting ready to celebrate here in 2 years, 175 years, for 9 people to be in that position. That's a lot of longevity there. That's a lot of consistency there. So I am honored to serve that. And now I have the opportunity to serve hundreds of thousands of people, every day, every year, as they come onto the grounds for different events. We just had the Home and Garden Show. We have obviously the fair. We have benefits, just many, many events. And now with the event center that we built, we have that much more opportunity to get business coming in. We have events scheduled this year from all over the United States, a dog show from the entire Eastern United States, from New Jersey down to Florida, over to Wisconsin, came to Wooster, Ohio. So you can imagine what that's bringing into our city. And that's just one example. So I'm excited to be able to have that ability to serve our community in this way. My daily duties as a manager is just day-to-day activities, interactions, face-to-face, phone calls, emails, things like that. I take care of all the rental of the facilities. Just like I said, the event center, the racehorse barns. If somebody calls up and says that they want to have a fundraiser, a 5K, everything in regards to that, just the day-to-day. Maintaining the buildings and the grounds. We have over 70 buildings there, so it's an undertaking to keep up with that. You look around a lot of fairs and they fall into despair pretty quick. Our buildings are pretty aged, so we have to take care of them now. We're getting ready to celebrate a 100-year anniversary in the Coliseum, so we're starting that now. We're starting, how can we restore it? How can we, keep it up and protect it so it lasts another 100 years? Schedule volunteer groups. We've had many volunteer groups call me up and say, hey, we want to come do community service. What can we do? So sometimes that's a challenge, trying to find something for 200 people, right? Or 20 people. But we do our best. Obviously, I'm the spokesman for the fair, which is often in the most difficult situations when we're flooding out, when we're, you name it. So broad shoulders there, right? And so you just I try to be honest with people, be upfront with them, and just, try to show them the entire picture. It's not always just one-sided there. So I take care of all the personnel that we employ at the fair as well. As the secretary of the fair, I write all the contracts for the fair vendors, the concessions, the displays and things like that. There's about 400 of them that we have every year at the fair, and as well as the placement of them. Record keeping of all the business transactions that happen, through the Wayne County Agricultural Society. Maintain the schedule of events during the fair, guiding the short-term as well as long-term goals. As the treasurer, I'm responsible for everything in conjunction with the budget in the accounting aspects. Like I said, we're going to celebrate 175 years in 2 years. That's pretty amazing to me that an organization has been around that long. If you look at the businesses in Worcester, Curry Lumber was the longest, operating business for many, many years. The Worcester Brush is in there, the Wayne County Fair is in there. So currently I'm in a leadership Worcester class, which I really enjoyed getting to know people, getting to know who and what makes Worcester work. And I continue to be amazed by how many people are doing things that the average person doesn't see for the betterment of our community. And I'll finish with this here. People often ask me, why is your fair so good? What makes the Wayne County Fair the best fair around? And I tell them it's not as much as we enjoy the food, the animals, the shows, it's not about that. It's about the people. Many friendships are renewed every year, on the bridge. The conversations are picked right back up from a year before. And it's just, we go right back into those conversations. It's a year to year reconnection with our family and friends these friendships have been formed generations ago. So that's what makes our fair the best fair there is. It's not about the fair. It's not about the buildings. It's about the people. And that's us, right? That's our community. So I do appreciate your time here today, and I look forward to serving with you each. Thank you.
Thank you, Matt. Certainly happy that you decided to join Worcester Rotary. I know when we dedicated our community flag last September, Matt and I were sort of in charge. It sounded easy just talking about it. Well, let's unfold the flag to the people there that were ready to carry it. I'm glad Matt was there because he had the foresight to know where the grommets were and which way it should go. I don't think I would have made it without Matt being by my side there, so appreciate that. Now I'm going to turn it over to Tracy Carney to introduce Stacy.
Good afternoon. It is my pleasure to introduce Dr. Norman Jones, who serves as the Dean and Director of Ohio State University's Mansfield campus. He is also a professor of English. He joined the Mansfield campus in 2004 after earning his PhD from UCLA and his BA from Yale. He has published 4 books about the Bible and literature. He and his wife Heidi live in Mansfield, and their son Riley, who is a 7th grader in Mansfield City Schools. Let's give a warm Worcester Rotary welcome to Dr. Norman Jones.
Thanks so much, Tracy, for that introduction, and thanks for having me here today. I'm grateful for your time. Would it be okay if I adjust they're just going to look at my teeth? Yeah. Otherwise, I don't want to break your equipment. Yeah, there it goes. I'm a little skewed, but that's all right. So again, thanks for letting me take some of your time today. I'm here to give you some updates about the Ohio State University campus in Mansfield. And part of that is just about the fact that we worry that we're one of the best kept secrets of our region, and we really don't want to be. We know we've got all kinds of great educational institutions in this region. I've got friends who work at College of Worcester, at our OSU Worcester campus, the ATI campus there, at Kent State, at Akron. We're really blessed to have so many higher ed opportunities in this part of the state. And I appreciate your willingness to let me tell you a little bit about what's going on at Ohio State Mansfield today. But I want to back up just for a second and tell you a little bit more about myself. So as Tracy said, I'm an English professor. I've been on the Mansfield campus for 18 years, moved into administration 7 years ago, full-time administration anyway. And I'm also a parent. So my little man is turning 13 next week. He's finishing up the 7th grade, Mansfield City Schools. And like many of us, I worry about a number of things related to higher education that I want to talk to you about today. One of those is the rising costs of higher education and the rising student debt levels. That worries me a lot. I also worry about the degrees we're offering, the training. Are we keeping pace with our current industry needs? Are we teaching our students really what they need to be able to succeed not only today, but in tomorrow's workplace. And finally, I'm worried about the brain drain, about how many of our young people in Richland County and Mansfield and our broader community, they leave. You know, Ohio has a lot of great higher educational opportunities, but we export a lot of our students after they graduate. And that worries me because just like in Worcester, our economy is going strong, right? Manufacturing is strong in Richland County, it is throughout this region. Tracy and I were just talking about how more and more, a lot of us in economic development are thinking about the US 30 corridor across Ohio because the communities along US 30 share so much in common and there's so many opportunities. But we also have some challenges. And some of those challenges are about talent, about workforce development, about our young people. So I want to tell you a bit about Ohio State Mansfield in terms of what we're doing to meet some of those challenges. And you might ask, why are you talking to us? We're not going to college. What Ohio State Mansfield does above all else is offer a really great educational product, the chance to become part of a world-class institution that is internationally known and that has more than 500,000 living alumni. We offer all that at a very affordable price. And let me tell you what two things are not on the minds of most teenagers is academic quality, how that's going to carry you after you graduate, and the cost of college. So we are reaching out to influencers, and I don't mean social media influencers, but folks who who are either parents themselves or talk to parents of our young people, just to help our communities that we serve. Our Ohio State Mansfield serves the entire northeast quadrant of the state, just to let us know that we're part of the mix. We're certainly not the only story in higher education. Again, we have great higher educational institutions, but I think we're an important part of the mix, and we have some neat things going on that I want to share with you. So that's to frame up what I'm talking about today. So my first concern about the rising cost of college and the rising student debt levels, really proud of our new university president at Ohio State University, President Christina Johnson, is an electrical engineer who came on board in the middle of the pandemic, but didn't slow her down at all. She's been swinging for the bleachers. And one of her primary initiatives is to make college debt-free for at least as many students as possible. And it's a huge undertaking when you have well over 50,000 undergraduates spread across all these different campuses. It's really 6 campuses at Ohio State. But that's her ambition, it's her goal. And already part of meeting that goal is the regional campuses at Ohio State. And I want to back up, and just for those of you who don't know much about us or how we work, I just want to sketch out what the regional campuses are like at Ohio State, because we're a little different than some other universities' regional campuses. To start off, we're open admissions. Anyone with a high school diploma or GED is welcome to start college on one of Ohio State's regional campuses. That's because Ohio State is a land-grant university founded from the Morrill Act under Abraham Lincoln to make higher education opportunities available to all citizens, not just the elite, not just those who have money and connections. And so while the Columbus campus of Ohio State over the last 2 decades has become increasingly selective for students, it's just much harder to get into than it was, say, in the 80s or 90s, when I was applying to college in the 80s, not the 90s. The regional campuses increasingly fulfill that land-grant mission. To do that, we are seamlessly a part of the one university. So our faculty are part of their departments across all the campuses that are headquartered on our Columbus campus. And if our students start on a regional campus, they don't transfer to the Columbus campus. We just call it a campus change because they're already part of that whole system. The classes are the same, the majors are the same. If a student finishes one of about a dozen majors that we offer on a regional campus, that diploma just says The Ohio State University. It doesn't say Ohio State Mansfield because we're all one university. It's the same academics. And so when graduation rolls around in a couple of weeks, I'll be down in Columbus at the SHU, handing out more than 12,000 diplomas, which I think is always just a great symbol of Ohio State. It's frankly insane. I've never been at another institution that has all of its graduates meet in one place each spring and hand you the individual diploma with your name on it. Logistically, it's a nightmare. But Ohio State is committed to pulling that off. And I was at UCLA, I was at Yale, these places, they do graduation by breaking them up into smaller pieces of the university, not Ohio State. We're huge and we're personalized. And that's what Ohio State's regional campuses are about. We're about offering a more personalized, smaller class size experience with no teaching assistants in the first years. Students get professors who are seasoned. And we also are about affordability, getting back to the challenge of student debt and rising tuition levels. So a year right now, full-time on the Ohio State Mansfield campus runs about $8,500, which if you know higher education, is just a whole lot cheaper than most any other place that you'll find. We're about 30% less expensive than our Columbus campus. We charge no fees on top of that. Sometimes if you're only looking at tuition, you're missing a big chunk of that bill. Those of you who've had kids in college, you know, you think this is the tuition and a lot of other fees. We keep it very lean. We run a lean ship, but I think a budget in a business is a reflection, it's a numerical reflection of your values. And what you'll find at Ohio State's regional campuses is that our values are in academic quality. We offer small class sizes and great faculty who are doing research in their fields and closely connected to the Columbus campus. If a student completes one full-time year, 30 credit hours there, they're guaranteed a spot on the Columbus campus. So we have students who start any of more than 200 majors on the Mansfield campus. And we're really proud of that. We're proud of delivering a high quality product at a reasonable and affordable price. But even so, we want to get our student debt levels lower. So we're working really hard right now to make sure that we're as efficient as possible with our student financial aid. We're growing our scholarship funds for students, and we are trying to be part of the answer to that question of how is it that college can cost so much more now than it did 40 years ago? And how are our students going to get a good bang for their buck, right? Part of that answer is to keep college affordable. And while, you know, for some students that might not be an issue and the big price tag might be worth it for some other kinds of college experiences, we're really proud that we offer an option that can help students graduate debt-free with a really great world-class degree. So excited about that. It helps me get out of bed in the morning when I'm tired, which is often. The other thing we're working on is realigning our curriculum to meet the workforce needs of today and tomorrow. You all are probably just as interested as I am in the news about Intel building a new plant in New Albany and investing $20 billion down there. But it's not just about Intel. It's about the 140 suppliers that are going to see a lot more business because of Intel. It's also not just about any of that, it's about manufacturing in Ohio, which has been such a backbone of our economy and continues to be. We all know that Ohio ranks third, only behind Texas and California in manufacturing. That's amazing. Texas and California have far more people, they have a lot more land than we do, but it's a testament to Ohio's prowess in manufacturing. We also, I don't know if you know this, that 1/3 of Ohio's economic output each year is produced in cities just like this one. The smaller cities, the cities that people sometimes used to refer to as Rust Belt cities, but really aren't that anymore. We're building for tomorrow and we're a crucial part of Ohio's economy. So how do we prepare students for that? When I started as an associate dean of the campus 7 years ago in full-time administration, part of my job was to address that issue. And we were going to expand our mechanical engineering program. We offered the first year of Ohio State's dozen or so engineering majors on the Mansfield campus, but we knew we needed more than that because our manufacturers were just dying for more highly skilled workers. And I started digging into that and quickly found that the existing degrees at Ohio State were really focused on research and design. They're fantastic degrees. Those jobs, the students get jobs and they're full to capacity. But that was part of the problem. We didn't have the capacity on the Columbus campus to build new degrees in engineering. And we saw a problem in the industry as we worked more and more closely with business leaders, that they needed people who came out with training to run our plants, to run manufacturing operations. The boomers who are running those plants are increasingly retiring, and they came through engineering training at a time when it was a little more broadly based. And a lot of them learned a lot on the job. Our current workforce development ecosystem, and I always call it that because we need the certificates, we need the 2-year degrees, we need the 4-year degrees, all of those things. There's a gap. There's a gap there for folks who have enough technical training to understand how to manage something complex like the high-tech manufacturing operations that we increasingly see in Ohio, but also have some business management skills and are not so high-tech that they really only want to sit behind a computer and do R&D. We need people who want to be out there in the factories that are driving our communities. On that note, you know, a lot of people think Intel, and you know, if you're like me, you've got Intel in one of your computers at home. Maybe if you have more than one computer, maybe it's in all of them. So you think Intel is a high-tech company. We sent a few folks from our OSU team out to Arizona last week to learn from Intel about their operations. And one of the messages that they repeatedly drove home is that they kept saying, we are not a tech company. We are not a tech company. We are a manufacturing company. And yeah, we need people who are going to run plants that deal with semiconductors, but we're not talking about semiconductor research here. We're talking about running plants. So that's what our new degree at Ohio State is about, that I ended up building over the course of 4 to 6 years with the help of a lot of other folks, because I'm an English professor. I don't know engineering, but I saw the need and knew it needed an administrative champion. So all these years later, we have a degree. We're rolling out the 3rd year of this 4-year Bachelor's of Science in Engineering Technology. In the fall will be the third year for it. Lays a foundation in mechanical and electrical engineering, as well as offering business classes from our Fisher College of Business that has such a great reputation for very good reason, so that we can train up folks to help lead the plants that help support our communities. This is an exciting time because we built this degree before any Intel announcement was on the horizon. You know, that's just sort of amping up the need that frankly was already there. High-tech manufacturing is here. More and more small manufacturers can afford automation and robotics. They need people who are skilled enough to know how to integrate those robotics into their plant operations. And that's what this degree is really all about managing high-tech manufacturing operations for today and tomorrow. We're also moving forward to support healthcare on the Ohio State Mansfield campus. We know that healthcare is burgeoning in our county as it is in Wayne County, and we need more people with more skills in that area. We added an organic chemistry lab recently. We're fleshing out more programming, academic programming, pre-med for that area. And we're also continuing to offer a range of other pre-professional programs in business management and social work and some liberal arts majors. The bankers keep telling me, look, I'll hire a liberal arts major who's good any day because you know they know how to think, they know how to work hard. So we offer English and history and psychology and all those kinds of things as well. The other piece I just want to wrap things up with is about the brain drain. It's about students leaving our communities. And I think this is where campuses like Ohio State Mansfield have a special role to play. Students who want to remain in our communities, who value knowing their communities, I think will find a really just a nurturing special community at our smaller campuses at The Ohio State University. I say this as someone who grew up in New Jersey, in a town of about 26,000 people that you could fit in the size of a postage stamp, and it was cheek by jowl with every other little town because we were 25 miles outside of Manhattan. And most people worked in New York, and I worked in New York after college for a while, and I thought, this is nuts. No, I don't want any part of this. I mean, it's neat, right? I'm glad somebody likes to do it, but I don't want to live this way. I ended up moving out to Los Angeles for graduate school, and that was pretty neat too. I learned a lot about that, but that was the same thing again. It was crazy and expensive, and the stuff we see in the movies is not what most of us can afford in Los Angeles. So it's just a big crowded city. I am so grateful to live in a small community that is big enough that I keep meeting new people, just like Worcester is, but it's small enough that I can get to know folks. And it's been an amazing privilege in my role leading the Mansfield campus to get to become part of community leadership circles that are helping to make our entire region of Ohio better as we work on our city, our county, the US 30 corridor together to raise the quality of life for all folks in our community, let alone that during a global pandemic, this is the place to be, right? Like these smaller communities, this was great. My friends in big cities were completely traumatized. I was like, look, this is, you know, come out to Ohio. There's a reason people keep talking about this as maybe the new Silicon Valley, because the coasts are full, right? They don't have room for anybody else. It's overcrowded. We need to help our young people see the value of living and staying in our communities. We need them and they need us. I think we offer all kinds of great things that you don't always see when you're a teenager. And maybe it means that going away 40 minutes down the road helps them get enough of a change of scene that they feel like it's a little different, but still reminds them that there are wonderful things here in Ohio and great opportunities, and it's a great place to make a life, to raise a family. And I say that as, you know, proud father of a soon-to-be 13-year-old. This has been an amazing gift to be able to raise my son here, can run across the street and play with his friends in a way that, you know, just isn't possible for my friends who are raising kids in big cities. So it's an ecosystem. Again, higher education, we have a lot of different players. We're blessed to have so many. But I just wanted to let you know a little bit more about Ohio State Mansfield and the role we play in that ecosystem. And if you are so moved, I'd love to ask for your help getting the word out. It may not be for all students, but I think it is a great fit for some students who maybe don't know about the opportunity that's just down the road. So I'm gonna wrap up there. I probably talked too much. How much time do I have? Just enough time for questions. So I wonder if you have any questions or thoughts that you'd like to share. And again, thanks for taking all this time to listen to me.
How big is your campus enrollment, and you have student housing and everything there?
Thanks for asking that. I should have addressed that earlier. We're really big in acreage. We're 600 acres. I sometimes call us the wildest campus in America because most of that is undeveloped. We have this really cool environmental science program on the campus because we have a lot of woodlands and stuff that students learn. If you want a great chainsaw safety class, Ohio State Extension teaches that on our campus too. And you can buy maple syrup harvested from the Mansfield campus. We have 1,000 students right now because we've shrunk a little in the pandemic. Mostly we've been at sort of 1,200 or in that kind of range students. We have university-owned housing on campus. It's operated as part of the university-wide student housing. It sleeps about 200 students. So a good chunk of our students are residential. We also had a private developer build some new student housing just on the edge of campus. Now it's been 6 years ago, I guess. And they have room for another 250 or so students. So we've got a sizable population of residential students, some commuter students too. But it's really been neat to see how that's changed the campus over in my 18 years. We had the 200 beds, but now we've basically more than doubled that. And one of the things that I remind students from the area, high school students who are thinking about it, is it's not just the same students just from the area. We have students from Cleveland, from Akron, from really more than half of Ohio's 88 counties are on campus. I hope that answers the question. Thanks for asking that.
large number of Ohio State alums were in California. Like one of the really high states for Ohio State. See a reversal of that, less attractive.
That's a great question. It's less attractive to me, that's for sure. I've met my wife out there. We go back to her family's out there. We were back over Christmas. And I always slightly hold my breath. I'm like, is this the time she's going to tell me, I just miss this too much. My family's out here. We're gonna have to. The traffic gets worse every single time we visit, you know, like, and thank goodness she does not want to go back there. But that is interesting. I wonder, I don't know is the short answer. I'd like to think that more and more people are seeing that the coasts are full. They're so expensive, whether you're starting a business or whether you're a young person just trying to start out. And there's so many opportunities in this area that I'd like to think that more people would stay here, but I don't know yet. But certainly that's a hope.
I'm interested in your opinion on what the solution to the student loan debt problem.
Yes, that's a great question. It's complicated only because when you talk about student loans, there are students who will sometimes take out loans that they don't necessarily even need, you know, but like say if you're a well-to-do student enough, but you don't have enough money to buy your own car, you might take out a student loan because the interest rate is lower than getting a loan through the dealer, right? So our president pointed this shot, you know, said, I'm gonna eliminate student debt. And we all started digging in and saying, let's solve this problem because we can do it. We're Ohio State, you know, we can figure this out. And we quickly realized if you aim for that for everybody, you're going to be giving some people some big free rides that don't need, you know, like it's sort of missing the mark. So what we're doing as a pilot program is we're starting off with a group of students across all the Ohio State campuses that will enroll in a program starting in their freshman year to be debt-free. And it's a multi-pronged approach. So there'll be the financial aid, the scholarships, all those pieces, but there'll also be, let's just face it, 17, 18, 19-year-olds, you got to have some financial literacy, right? Some good stewardship classes. You got to make a pledge to work with a financial aid specialist, to see an academic advisor. Part of the solution about eliminating student debt is making sure students move through quickly enough. So College Credit Plus is helping us there. We have to help students make smart academic decisions so that they're not getting D's and wasting credit hours or switching majors constantly. We got to do career counseling very early in their experience, hopefully get them in internships. We find that's not only good to help connect students, and we'd love your help with this, by the way, if you're interested in working with us. Cindy Wood and I can connect with you. But the earlier in their career that students get connected to a career passion, the better they're going to do in classes, the more quickly they'll move through because they get that their classes mean something, you know, if they're just drifting. So it's a lot of different pieces. And I think Cindy had something she wanted to chime in with about that I may have forgotten.
Yeah, the Starling Great Advantage program, which is what Norman is referring to. She tossed the moonshot, not moonshot out.
It's just a big grand slam.
She
Our
tossed the
president.
grand slam out about graduating debt free. She did not say free college. She said debt free, which involves a number of pieces and parts. The other big element that I guess I want to share with this group in particular is the state support of higher education. 20 years ago, the state of Ohio used to be in the top 10 of all states with support to higher ed, which offset the tuition costs. The state of Ohio is now down at the bottom 10 in the country. And so when we think about the bigger challenges confronting us, yes, it's debt-free support, which includes career services at an earlier part in their career course, College Credit Plus, education about personal responsibility, and I've gotten I'm going to figure out how to raise my fourth kid when I only have 3, and then third in college. But there's also the other external environmental factors too, that as we look at what is coming down the pipe, I don't think we want to ignore that either. So thank you for letting me share.
Thanks for that question. Any other questions? Okay.
You spoke about the brain drain. Have there been any surveys done to kind of look at why college graduates leave the state?
That's a great question. I haven't seen any. I mean, usually it's just that sort of young people wanting to get a change, and that's what we hear anecdotally from our students, or especially the students in my area who don't come to our campus and go elsewhere. You know, I've met a lot of students as my son was growing up. We just got to know a lot of babysitters who then would take off and like, well, I'm going somewhere else. I just want to, strike out. And sometimes when they start a family, they come back, and we see that in Mansfield. I bet we see that in Worcester. I'm hoping we can increase that trend, but I'll look around for a survey. I haven't seen, hard data, but anecdotally, it's just that that piece of it. But I wonder, getting back to the question about California, if the cost and the seeming excitement of some of those places that have lured our students away in the past, that might be changing a little bit, especially as, I'll just, frankly, I think the Intel announcement is not just about Intel. It's about a company that has this big international reputation shining the spotlight on Ohio manufacturing that already exists right here. In the same way, we have an Air National Guard base in Mansfield, 179, that is being commissioned. I guess it's probably not the right word, but they're getting a new mission in cybersecurity. That is helping us shine a spotlight for our young people on IT, on the excitement of cyber, careers and in cyber technology. We have in Ohio this amazing Transportation Research Center, TRC. If you've ever had, how many people have heard about TRC, Transportation Research Center? So a few of us, it's about halfway between Columbus and Dayton. It's thousands of acres. I had never heard about it. I lived here 18 years. I'd never heard of it before last summer, and I got a tour of it. You'll see Tesla, you'll see half a dozen companies that you've never heard of testing cars right here in Ohio for autonomous driving. And what's funny is they look like horses in winter, those cars. They're all covered with blankets because none of them want to show their trade secrets to each other. And what they said to me, I said, well, gosh, that's a heck of a project there you got. And said, well, no, we've actually mostly solved autonomous driving. It's the cybersecurity that we haven't solved. They just put in a $200 million facility down there at TRC to focus on cybersecurity. They said, if you bought like an off the lot Tesla today, it has 7, they call them connected systems, 7 systems that could be hacked, 7 systems that connect to the internet to help that thing drive properly. So if we get more autonomous vehicles on the roads and somebody can hack them, it could not only result in murders, deaths, but also shut down, it could cripple entire cities and all kinds of problems. So cybersecurity is a big part of that. TRC is going to come up to the Ohio State Mansfield campus. We're not that close to them, but they're desperate for a workforce, and they're going to put on a bit of a show about their autonomous vehicles in September when our students are fresh coming back for the new school year. And I said to them, just like the 179th cybersecurity mission or Intel, I said, I'm using you as much as you're using me to recruit talent. I want to take these big flashy industries and use them to help shine a spotlight on what's already going on in Ohio manufacturing. So I've been in the plants. I know that, and I won't bore you with details, but like if you eat cereal, it's probably the bag that is packaging your cereal is probably made in Ohio. All kinds of great things are happening here. We need to let our young people know about the exciting possibilities that Ohio already has. Sorry if I sound preachy, I get carried away. Well, thanks again so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Dr. Jones, for giving us an update on the Mansfield campus. The regional campuses of Ohio State are so important. Sort of that pathway into the university really exemplified the land grant mission. So we appreciate everything the regional campuses do. In recognition of your time with us today, we have this rendition of the Rotary Wheel. and it has our 4-way test on the back, and it's made locally by the Village Network.
Thanks so much. I appreciate that. I'm a member of the Mansfield Rotary too, so this is especially meaningful, but thank you.
Great. All right, quick reminder, next week, our speaker will be our own Dee Vidia. Dee's going to give us an update on COVID and the Wuhan connection. You may remember Dee gave us a talk right at the beginning of COVID, and he's coming back to follow up on some of the things that he's learned. So that'll be next week. Have a good week, Rotarians, and don't put away your winter jackets yet. We stand adjourned.